ABC 13 Eyewitness News This Morning starts now.
It is a thick, foggy morning, and that could slow your commute, even making it dangerous. Travis is tracking that dense fog advisory. Catherine has a watch on the road.
Plus, more breaking news. A big apartment fire goes to alarms. People ran for their lives at that complex near Energy Park. We are there live this morning.
And good morning, everyone. On this Tuesday, I'm Tom Cook.
And I'm Samika Knight. Let's get right to Travis Herzog. Yeah. Boy, that fog was something else this morning, there? Travis.
Yeah, it was hand in the face. Can I see
Seriously,
it? That's
right?
how bad it was commuting into Channel 13 this morning. We're seeing it change across southeast Texas. There's basically this very low cloud to the ground fog that's lifting its way northward. So we're seeing improvements along the coast, but we're seeing it deteriorate from Houston northward. Let's tell you what we're talking about. Take a look at the visibilities. We have near 0-mile visibility across much of Houston and Katy. Quarter-mile visibility now from Tomball to Humble. 1/4 in Sugar Land. Pearland, which earlier had near 0-mile visibility, is now up to 1 3/4 mile. 4/4-mile visibility in Galveston. So what's happening is some southerly winds from the Gulf are helping to break up that fog south of town. But as it stands, a dense fog advisory for the counties that touch the coast and the first counties inland through 8 o'clock this morning. But that fog will be changing. Now look at the difference in temperatures. It's 71 in Galveston, 64 in Houston, 47 in Conroe. North of that foggy layer, the sky is fairly clear, the air is fairly dry, and temperatures have chilled off. So some of you definitely need a jacket out the door north of Houston, but south of town, it is very moist and warm. Temperatures are going to be working their way into the upper 70s this afternoon with a 30% chance of rain showers. I do think it'll stay fairly foggy the next few hours in Houston. Then we'll see the clouds linger through much of the day. But a stronger cold front arriving tonight is going to bust up the clouds and get them on out of here. I'll have more on that in your forecast. Now let's check in with Catherine Whaley to see how the fog is impacting that morning drive.
And Travis, it really is making an impact on the morning drive because it'll slow you down on your way in. Difficult to see even just a few feet in front of you in some cases. So I want to take you out here to give you a look at our TransStar cameras where we're seeing the foggiest areas. So over on the south side, as Travis mentioned, and also really all across town. 45 north at Airtex, we're seeing that thick fog on your drive in on I-45. Also on the south side of town, 288, still seeing some fog there as well as on the Southwest Freeway. Here we are at the West Beltway where fog is thick on your drive in there from the Sugar Land and Stafford area. Also here along 290 at Gessner, difficult to see just a few yards in front of you. So be careful, use those low beam headlights. Want to send it out to Foti Kalergis, who's in one of the foggy spots this morning. He's out at I-45 and Quitman with a look at the fog out there on the roads. Good morning, Foti.
Yeah, good morning, Catherine. And you know, this is one of the important interchanges just north of downtown Houston. So the dense fog advisory here can be very dangerous for drivers. You can see this is looking north on I-45 north. And you can see those headlights going down and just not too far away, they disappear in that fog. Very dangerous driving conditions right now on the roadways. The fog is thick in many areas around the Houston area. And further out of town, the worse that it is going to get. We have seen this fog kind of lifting in this area in the last 20 minutes or so, and also heading north. This is not the day that you want to be on your cell phone while driving, so put that phone down this morning. Keep both eyes on the road ahead of you. Leave plenty of space between you and the vehicle ahead of you also. And you also don't want to put your high beams on. Some people, for some reason, think that that's a good idea to do, but it is not. Because water droplets from the fog actually reflect back towards you, so it actually makes it even more difficult for you to see. Also this morning, you're going to want to slow down because the fog is thick. You want to make sure that you're driving just below the speed limit if you can in the areas that it's allowed, and also don't stop on the roadways. If you need to, find a safe place to pull over and make sure that you are as far away from traffic as possible this morning. I think it goes without saying, if you step out of your house, you're going to see just how bad this fog is, so leave plenty of time for you to get to work or school this morning. Reporting live near the downtown Houston area, Foti Kalergis 13, Eyewitness News. Back to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Foti. Great advice there. I want to be able to react as quickly as possible, so minimize those distractions inside the car. Coming up, we're going to give you a look at drive times as you head in on this Tuesday morning. Thomas, Mika.
All right, 4:34, and let's go to that breaking news near the medical center where people ran for their lives after a 2-alarm apartment fire.
And that fire broke out just about an hour ago off Holly Hall in El Mundo off 288. And that is where we find Eyewitness News reporter Courtney Fisher there live for us. Good morning to you, Courtney.
Tom, at least one woman had to be rescued. You can see crews still out here right now trying to put out all those hot spots. We've counted at least 4 apartment units on this side of the building. appear to be destroyed, but there are several on the other. I want to mention something about that top floor apartment to the right. That's where the woman we know had to be rescued. She was faced by smoke and fire, so she actually climbed out onto the roof, and see that ladder up there? A firefighter went out, she was sitting on that roof, and then he carried her down. I want to get right to this viewer video as well. You can see how huge these flames were. The woman said she took this video around 3:15 this morning. Incredible. She actually lived across the way, came out, and this is what she faced. Right now, investigators not sure, not saying exactly how this started, but arson is out here. We talked to a woman, the woman who took that video. Listen to what she had to say.
She just came to my room and she said, "Sarah, I guess there is a fire. I'm hearing somebody shouting outside." And we opened the door and came toward the swimming pool. We saw something like, oh my God, it was like a hell. And I was shaking because it was so surprising, was shocked.
And you can still hear the panic in her voice. Back out here live, look at that firefighter. You can see him ripping pieces of charred wood from an area that is still smoking. This, again, still a very active scene. You're telling how long they're going to be out here. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, you're going to hear from that woman who was, again, carried down safely, rescued by firefighters, carried down that ladder. You'll hear, again, from her in 30 minutes. For now, reporting live, Courtney Fisher, 13 Eyewitness News.
Thanks so much, Courtney. Well, we have more breaking news from Colombia this time, where national police is reporting 76 people died in a plane crash. A Brazilian soccer team was on that plane to Medellin for a regional tournament when it crashed. We do know 5 people did survive that crash. Crews are waiting until the sun comes up to continue with recovery efforts.
Back here in Houston, 2 officers are recovering after they were hurt during a botched robbery attempt last night and a SWAT standoff. It was breaking news at 10 o'clock last night. It happened at a Wendy's off Alameda Genoa on the Gulf Freeway. Police say the robber fired a number of shots, but thankfully didn't injure any of the Wendy's employees or hit the officers.
Unknown if the suspect was indeed firing at them or at random into the building. So these officers showed incredible restraint.
But one of the officers was wounded by his fellow officer. Apparently, that officer's gun accidentally went off and grazed the other cop. That spooked a police dog, and that dog bit the second officer. The robber ended up being taken into custody.
437, a Bush Intercontinental Airport employee accused of bringing a loaded gun to work is expected in court today. 22-year-old Devarius Connerly was arrested over the weekend. Police say he worked at a restaurant in the airport and was going through TSA screening machines when he was caught. And also, we still don't know why a woman jumped from a plane at that same airport. Passengers on that flight from New Orleans yesterday say the plane had just landed when the woman opened an emergency exit and jumped onto the tarmac. She is being evaluated at a mental health facility.
It may have been terrorism. That's the possibility of that attack at Ohio State University yesterday. Police say a Somali-born student, Abdul Razak Ali Artan, posted on Facebook minutes before the attack that he was upset about the treatment of Muslims, saying he couldn't take it anymore. Police say Artan then plowed his car into a group of pedestrians on campus, got out and just started stabbing people. A campus police officer shot and killed him minutes later. 11 people were hurt, 1 critically, but classes will resume at Ohio State today. Houston police later this morning will ask Crime Stoppers and you for help in finding the person who shot and killed a security guard 3 years ago. 51-year-old Renee Almeida was gunned down by a man trying to get into the Southwest complex where he was working. It happened in April of 2014. But Crime Stoppers is holding the press conference later this morning, along with Almeida's family, where they will ask the public, pleading for more help in finding the killer and announcing a bigger reward.
This morning, we have a new look at what happened right before a Woodlands High School football player was critically injured in a game. This is video of number 21, Grant Mitchell, playing in Saturday's playoff game in Waco before he got hurt. The senior linebacker had emergency surgery to stop bleeding in his brain, and this morning he is still in a coma. Loved ones are raising money to help his family through trauma and recovery. We do have a link to that GoFundMe account on abc13.com.
Well, not a U of H football and the new interim coach who will host his own press conference today. It will be the first press conference for Todd Orlando since Tom Herman left to go to UT. And we will stream that conference beginning at 1 o'clock this afternoon at abc13.com. Orlando is expected to talk about the Cougars' head coaching job and where the program is headed now. Be sure to head to our Facebook page. We've got a poll going on asking, who do you think should be the next head football coach at U of H?
All right, later today, the city of Houston will roll out its transportation plan for February's Super Bowl. The committee will go over road closures, suggested routes, metro plans, downtown parking, and prepaid parking. The theme, know before you go.
Now, AccuWeather with 13 Eyewitness News meteorologist Travis Herzog.
All right, it is really thick out there this morning. The fog rolled in overnight and hasn't let go.
It is. We've got a boundary that's kind of stalled out right over Houston. That's leading to this really thick fog, but I am seeing signs that boundary is slowly moving northward. So this is going to spread into Montgomery County, but it may also improve on the south side of Houston here in the next couple of hours as folks get ready to really hit the roads. Outside now, though, it is what it is. Thick fog where you can barely make out road signs until you get right up underneath them. It sits across much of Houston and Harris County. So near 0-mile visibility being reported at Bush Airport, Hobby Airport, over toward Katy. But we are seeing improvements to the south. Let me rewind for you. About 6 hours ago, we had that thick fog in our coastal counties. This is at 10:30 last night. Watch as it progresses here as that fog lifts northward and oozes its way into Houston. The visibility suddenly start to drop across town, and we're seeing, though, improvements now in our coastal communities. So about 6 hours ago, you had the thick fog. Now we have 4-mile visibility in Galveston and Angleton, 3-mile visibility in Pearland. So I do think we're going to continue to see this fog slowly inch its way northward as that boundary slowly moves its way back in from the Gulf of Mexico. Outside now, this is our tower cam. We can kind of make out the city streets there. We've got a temperature of 64 degrees at Bush Airport, near 0-mile visibility, 100% humidity. Meanwhile, we can make out the buildings in Galveston. Yeah, there's a little bit of a haze here. There's still fog, but it's not terribly dense anymore, at least not at Skulls, where the temperature is 71 degrees with 100% humidity. So this is a very moist air mass blowing in. What happened is this big area of low pressure that stalled out over the northern plains sent that boundary into southeast Texas. That little dry front yesterday, well, it stalled out, and now it's slowly lifting back northward. But eventually, you see all the snows here? That's some colder air rotating around that low, and a stronger front will arrive tonight to shove the clouds out of here and make for some improving weather as we go through the day on Wednesday. So for now, we have this one front stalled out. Here's the next front, which is currently up in the Panhandle. Behind that, temperatures are in the 30s and 40s. But with this boundary, it's the dividing line between 40s and 70s across southeast Texas. So some of you north of Houston definitely want a jacket this morning, but from Houston southward, no need for that with temperatures already warming up. Here's our future satellite radar loop. I do think we have a chance of showers throughout the day. A 30% chance you'll come across some rain, and then we'll see those clouds begin to blow out of here late in the afternoon, early in the evening. And so I do expect to get a little bit of sunshine before it sets. Your chance of rain, though, only at 30%. Then tomorrow, much different. It's going to feel a lot cooler. It's going to look a lot sunnier, and it gets even colder on Thursday. Then moisture goes over the top of the cold air starting Friday evening, and that sets the stage for a cold, wet weekend. We're talking highs in the 50s and rain off and on throughout much of Saturday and Sunday. Back to you.
All right, 4:43 this morning. Wildfires are threatening a number of resort towns in Tennessee, and now evacuations are underway.
Plus, a Thanksgiving meal is being blamed for killing 3 people in California. That meal provided at a church for free.
And an officer gets more than she bargained for. After a driver flags her down, she really delivered on her oath to protect and serve.
And taking another live look outside this morning from our Houston TranStar cameras. Very dangerous fog on your Tuesday morning commute. Catherine and Travis are monitoring this. Stay with us.